All right, so welcome back from the break. You're watching Morning Rush here on Metro Television. I am Desi the Star Boy, and I mentioned earlier we're talking about resolutions today, and our guest is Reverend FELIX Owusu from Calvary Baptist Church, and he'll be helping us understand, how we can get our resolutions right, no matter how you want it, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, whichever way. He's going to help us understand that this morning. And of course, as I mentioned, open the phone lines later so you can call a few calls to share with us how you're achieving your resolutions. Rev, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year to you.
Hey, good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
I can see last year's resolution is working. You're looking very fit.
Without God, we're putting the effort also. Very important, as I mentioned, I do not want to do the usual, is resolution good or bad, all of those things. But I'm sure in your conversations with people over the period, you've heard a lot of things about what people want to do with their lives, the new things that they want to happen to them in their lives. Daily, I'm sure people must have told you, daily, that's when I plan what I want to do for the day and what I want to achieve weekly, monthly, and then the yearly thing comes in. And what's your general assessment of our thoughts of these things and how we could generally achieve them, and then we'll break them down into pieces?
I think it's like we shared last year. It starts with an understanding of what resolution is all about and why you, first of all, want to have a resolution. Yeah. And if you recall, we spoke about you need to rise. Yeah. That you reflect, identify what you want to do, review. And the last point, which is evaluation, is what prepares you for the next year. So one would have thought that by the time you even enter, you would have sit down, like have an idea of what you want to do in the coming year. And some may want to have it for the whole year. Then they begin to break it down into quarters, into months, into weeks, even into days. All right. Yeah. So if you even have it for the whole year, it must be broken down to make it achievable. Okay. All right. So that daily, how does me saving 5,000 cedis or 1 million Ghana cedis next year, how does that translate into my seconds? Okay. Or even my minutes and my hour. So you could start big and come like a kind of a final kind of a thing. Yeah. So it's like that big, then you narrow it down. So I think that is how it's supposed to be approached. Okay. And so if you do it at a larger scale or a macro scale and you fail to micro it, you have issues. You have issues with that. You may not, be able to go around it. All right. Because how do I get it? My goals achieved. It starts with, like you said, a clear mind on what I want to improve. What I want to improve on, a clear mind. You need to have a clear mind on that. Now, then you must make it chewable. Chewable means that you must make it such that you can handle it. That is why I was talking about the fact that if you just say, oh, the year, I'm going to do it, and it doesn't translate into quarter, into months, weeks, days, and even minutes, then it may be too much for you to chew. Okay. Then if it's too much for you to chew, you cannot deal with the distractions. You cannot be disciplined enough to be able to carry them out. So it's not enough to just say that this year, I want to do this. Then it ends there. If you say this year means that from January to December, how do you achieve that, on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and in January? How do you achieve that? So you have the bigger one, break it down, make it chewable, and then you take it one day at a time. Okay, that makes sense. But you talked about discipline, right? A lot of times when we set these goals, some are realistic, other times to ourselves, they say, unrealistic. Other times to, as you mentioned, we leave them very vague. Okay, I want to save 10,000 since by the end of the year, right? But there's no actual planning as to what I'm going to do. So maybe that you have to buy Susu box. Exactly. Daily. This is the money you get. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the box every single day. But you just talk. So when you wake up in the morning, it's at the back of your mind, but you forget.
then you do one day, you saving there, then next 2 weeks, you come
then
and
you
put
remember that, oh,
they remember that,
I need to put something.
How do you make that effective? How do you ensure that the plan you have put in place, you are going by it?
Okay, number one, I mean, you need to be intentional about what you want to do.
Okay.
And the goal, like we just read, you set a goal that want you to jump out of bed, to want to go and do something. All right. So if you don't, you set a goal and you don't motivate yourself, I mean, nothing gets done. All right. So I talk about you making it chewable, something you can handle. Okay. Set a realistic goal. Okay. Of course. Then what next? I talk about you. There are a lot of distractions these days. Okay. So because you were talking about you have a certain amount of money you want to save. Okay. And yet, when you wake up, you follow friends to a certain joint. When you wake up, you do impulse buying. You understand? You do impulse buying. All right. Places that you could have walked. You want to take a boat. You want to take Uber. You want to take taxi and all that. All right. So you are not being realistic. You are not dealing with the distractions that comes your way. And if you don't deal with the distractions, believe me, it will be very tough for you. And I think one great thing that can also help you, I mean, is some people do a lot of writing.
Putting it down.
The to-do list and put it down. And it's guiding you every day. You have a journal, you want to go to it and remind yourself of what you want to do. Okay, you start in the morning and by evening, the evaluation comes and you review, you find out how you are doing. And to help you to be disciplined, I mean, you also need an accountable partner of a sort, all right? I mean, I know of someone who together they said they were going to build. Okay, so, and when one person is going to put sand on site, then he calls the next person and says, okay, this month I want to go and dump one trip of sand. And when I dump, I want you to also do some. Okay. All right, so when he's going on site, he dump one, his friends also dump one. And then when he's delaying, he goes to check, oh, why? This month you've not done anything. And then they are following up on each other. All right. All right. So some of these things can help us. You deal with the distraction. You are intentional about everything you desire to do in life. You get an accountable partner. You dare to follow whatever plan you set for yourself. Okay. By at least the to-do list and all of that are critical.
It's interesting the things that you mentioned about distractions, because a lot of us do not pay attention to the fact that certain things will come our way. Our thoughts only are on the things we want to do. We want to do it, but we forget that the obstacles will come and we need to be disciplined enough to be able to overcome them.
If you're not disciplined and say, okay, the first 3-4 hours of my morning, I'm not going on Facebook. I'm not going on Instagram. You know, if people check their screen time by afternoon, you'll be amazed the number of hours that has been spent on the screen time. So your intentionality and your willingness not to follow the crowd is so key if you want to achieve anything at all.
And also an accountable partner who track you and say that today you said you're going to do this, have you done it? Oh, then the person reminds you that you've not done this thing, and so you need to get it done. And how about knowing your personality, right? And because I know some people who are too good at that, like they won't forget and they get it right all the time, right? And there are others who also can start giddy, you know, like it's New Year, so, you know, susu box on my toe, every day I'm going, I'll put some cash in it. By the time we get to 31st, 30th, getting into February, they wouldn't be putting anything in there. How do you get yourself, of course, you've talked about the accountable partner, but as a person, because some people, I know some people do not have friends, they won't talk to anybody about whatever they are doing. But how do you know your personality and how you can get that involved in that resolution that you want to
I think each of us constantly need to always conduct a sort of ourselves. All right, so that you know your strength, know your weakness, know your even the stress around you, and what strength, weakness, opportunities, or the opportunities that are around you. All right, so if you conduct an audit of your life and your strength and all of that, I mean, you have an idea what can knock you down and what you can overcome.
Yeah.
All right, so if you know the threat around you, you are able to strategize yourself to adequately deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know that, okay, when I pass here, this and this will happen. You avoid passing there.
Yeah.
All right, so most of the time, we don't really conduct that kind of SWOT around ourselves. So believe me, even the opportunities around, we are not able to identify them. All right, so we don't even know the strength we have, let alone to leverage on that strength. And we don't know what weakness we have that can cause us to be distracted. And what you don't know will kill you. I mean, what you know, you always address. You understand? And we don't even know the threats, what is coming after us.
Yeah.
All right, so knowing yourself, like you said, is so key. But you must always, I mean, sit down, conduct an audit of your own life, and know who you are, what you are, where you have matured to, and be able to leverage on the strengths and the opportunities, and then shoot yourself up.
Okay, okay, that's a good point. If you just
but that's the only way you know that you are a spendthrift.
Yeah.
That's the only way you know that you are wasting money in this area.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way you know that I don't have self-control in this area.
This area.
Okay, and then when you know, then you are able to deal with. I mean, you prefer all the needed measures that can adequately address whatever is coming your way.
Okay, that's great. The bit about the other thing that people usually do resolutions about is about temperament. Saying this year, I won't get angry so much. They say like they want to work on themselves, right? And that is not the money bit, but like just the whole temperament thing. You know, maybe this year I'll clean my room I'll be more patient with staff. I'll see things objectively this year, and all of those other things. How does that come into play? Because it's a very important thing. Someone told me yesterday that this year how do you overcome that completely? That it gets to a point that even when all the things are being thrown at you, you can still maintain your calm and say
I just said it. I just said that. That's what you just asked earlier on the personality. So I need to know what makes me angry. You understand? I need to know what makes me angry. When I know what makes me angry, then I can actually strategize how to deal with the anger. All right. So then when I know what makes me angry and the person is trying to, I mean, come my way, then what will I do? Will I walk away? Will I just keep quiet? Will I just ignore? I mean, so knowing, conducting that analysis and knowing yourself and knowing that, anytime somebody is raising their voice, I get angry. Then you will also say, okay, when my boss is raising his voice, I'll be calm. Okay, like our elders will say, go and put water in your mouth. Somebody will say, okay, then count 1, 2, 3, 7,
breathe.
Breathe and all that. All right. So, but what happens if you don't know that you are a quick-tempered person? True. And you wouldn't know if you've not, I mean, kind of appraised yourself and then know exactly what gets you angry.
That's fantastic. Rev, it's I mean, generally with your encounter with people and with people watching us this morning, what would be your final advice to them on the resolutions that they want to achieve for this year 2024?
Okay, I think like I said last year, I mean, like the Bible says, many are the plans of a man. You put a plan on paper, but it is the Lord that directs. Yeah. And he also said that it is only when you commit your plans into the hands of the Lord that you can succeed. All right, so it's not enough to just put things on paper. Know that somebody gives you the ability to do all the things you want to do. So you must acknowledge that person. Okay. And you must be intentional about what you want to do. The key thing that you mentioned, which is discipline, is also key. And follow through every plan that you put on paper. I mean, constant tracking of your progress without overbeating yourself. Track your progress without overbeating yourself. I mean, and I think when you follow through some of these things, the Lord himself will help you, I mean, to walk through life. I mean, the ones you're able to achieve, you achieve. And the ones, I mean, that he feels that you should wait for another day, you leave it for another day. Yeah. And that is why it demands that daily you depend on him for instruction, for guidance. I mean, because you cannot do it by your own strength. In fact, you can decide to do whatever you want to do. You don't need God, you don't need anybody, and yet your strength can fail you. Okay. Because you are not on your own.
Reverend, thank you so much for coming through this morning and helping us with this conversation. Very important. Reverend Felix Owusu is with the Calvary Baptist Church counselor. He's everything there, helping us understand the topic resolutions and how we can achieve that this year. So go out there 2024 and achieve all your resolutions, work at it, and you definitely get there and depend on God. Very important.